Hello everyone, how you going? Welcome back to Mildly Interesting, the place that just makes you go, well I guess it's not exactly, that's a different subreddit, but you get the point. For all posts and photos that just make you go, I guess that is kind of interesting. I don't really know why, but I guess it is. But anyway, let's jump straight into it, shall we? So then starting right off with this piece of wall that got rounded by the sea. Yes, I don't even know if it's more mildly interesting, let alone just the fact that it's oddly satisfying. Just the fact that it's such a solid brick, you know, whenever you think of bricks, you think of just completely just, I don't know, rectangular, just solid structures, and not some massive pebble that's just been kind of tossed around for the sea for however many years it just made it round. I mean, it definitely makes sense how it can happen considering how strong individual particles of sand are, but at the same time, just the fact that you go, that was once just solid bricks and now it just looks as though it's a, I don't know, just a lolly or something like that. But really what I'm finding most impressive is the fact that the mortar was also just completely stayed intact the entire time, you know, because I would have assumed that the mortar would be a little bit softer than the brick, and so I would have imagined that the mortar would wear away first, but obviously no, you know, they're just completely going together, you know, they truly are in a long-term relationship and they're in it to the end, you know, they can get worn away by the sand over however many years, but nah, they're sticking together and it's all good. And also, I just find it incredible that something like that can just be kind of floating around. I mean, I guess there is probably a whole bundle of air in it considering how porous both materials are, but at the same time, just the fact that a lump of brick can just be kind of tossed around by the waves and just wash up onto a beach. And I'm just wondering if this is a common occurrence for this person that posted it, because really, surely if an entire building got kind of demolished, or however this amount of brick descended into the ocean, surely there was just going to be more. Like, that's not the entire building, so surely there's got to be a whole bundle of more bricks that are just kind of out there floating around, just getting rounded off into beautiful pebbles. So yeah, even though it is kind of just a massive lump of brick, at the same time, I kind of feel as though you should have taken it home, because it's pretty cool in a way. Because if nothing else, that is certainly a piece of art to someone, you know, so some kind of person that's into sculptures or something like that, surely that's the thing for them. My childhood doctor's office has a mini door installed for the younger patients. Oh, look at that, it's tiny. I didn't actually expect it to be that small. Look, like that's a full door. It's virtually half the height and half the width, so I guess it's a quarter size door. But no, this just runs with the little shopping trolleys that some places have so kids can kind of feel included. You know, they've got a big flagpole on them, so they're easier to find if it's really, really busy in a crowd or something like that. But at the same time, it can look quite strange when you just see this random kid just pushing around this very, very tiny trolley. But don't get me wrong, it's virtually as good as this little door here. But at the same time, it could certainly just catch you off guard if you suddenly come around the corner and then just greeted with a mini trolley. It's quite confronting. But no, from the title, I expected it to be kind of a children's practice, but this doesn't seem to be a children's practice at all, or at least based on the signs here, it certainly doesn't say like child specialist or anything like that. So that's certainly admirable, the fact that they've just put in a little door to try and make kids once again just feel a little bit more included, you know, because I imagine for a whole bunch of kids just going to the doctors is kind of like going to the dentist for most people, and just really not the most fun experience. But then when you put a little door for them to use at the front, I guess the front door, then the entire thing becomes a little bit more like a game, and they actually, I guess, would look forward to going to the doctors just so they could use a little door again. I guess also at the same time, it could kind of do a double whammy, because if they don't know how to use a door yet, you know, which is fair enough considering a lot of doors are going to be way too high for them to use, but this can actually teach them how to use a door, how to get the coordination, and if you have to pull it towards you, how to step out of the way and all those things. So hey, I think this is a great idea. I mean, you could kind of compare it to a cat flap, and so maybe you don't want to be doing that too much, but look, we've got clear first-hand evidence that the kid actually using the door, and so hey, like I said, I don't think there's any downside to this little door, besides if it was probably a little bit expensive to install, you know. It certainly would have been a custom order, and I guess for the door people it was probably one of a kind, so even for them it was mildly interesting. A customer mailed this tube with a tongue depressor attached to it to prevent it rolling around. Now it just got me wondering what the hell would be in there that they just want to make sure that it doesn't roll around. I mean, I do feel as though based on what we see every time we go anywhere on Reddit, that just the amount of people that just kind of chuck parcels, it's not really going to matter what you do, it is just going to roll around regardless. I mean, it could be a square and they could still make it roll around, but no, I'm just wondering why the hell did they only choose it to be on that side? You know, surely they could have put one on the complete opposite side and then it would have been better in terms of stopping it rolling around if it gets flipped over, or even just try and make a triangle or a square out of them, so just to really try and stop the motion. But they still doesn't answer the question about what the hell is actually in that tube, you know, what kind of random thing is a cylinder, or at least it goes in a cylindrical container, but then at the same time it needs a little bit of MacGyver to stop it rolling around. It doesn't really make sense to me. What kind of object is it? And also, based on the fact that this person said was a customer, I can only imagine that they do work at the post office, and so they will clearly see a whole bundle of parcels, really more parcels than any one human should ever see in their lifetime. But given the fact that they see all those parcels and they were still kind of mildly interested by this, I can only imagine that means it's a very, very rare thing for someone to do, let alone the fact that it might be one of a kind. Because like I said, who the hell needs to do that, you know, and just what is it? I just really want to know still. So yeah, I wonder if there's a whole bunch of parcels out there that we just have never heard of. It's just people do random things like this too, just to make sure that they don't roll around or they can't be flipped over, or just things like that, where they just at war with the delivery person because, you know, one of them wants to make a parcel roll as much as possible, and the other is just obviously trying to make sure that it doesn't roll around. I ordered a 119-year-old book online and quite a few pages are uncut, meaning no one ever read it. Oh wow, the fact that a book has been out and published for 120 years and has never been opened, you must feel like the biggest kind of waste of space of a book ever. So like I said, it's pretty sad on the book's behalf that it's never been read, but really just what are the contents? I need a little bit more context of what the book is actually about, because why the hell would no one be reading a book for 120 years? I mean, perhaps they just made too many copies, so this is just one of millions that just didn't get read. I mean, I guess all the other ones are probably gone by now, but really this is just like the lucky sole survivor that never didn't get read. But if it's not, just what the hell is actually in this book that made it so unappealing to people just not to to read it for 120 years. But hey, look, it's obviously having a happy ending. It's finally getting read, after 120 years. It did have to wait quite a while, but I just had to wait that long to find the perfect person just to finally be interested in whatever the hell's in it. And I'm honestly kind of surprised that we haven't already seen a Pixar film just based on something like this. We've had cars, we've had planes, we've had toys, we've had just everything under the sun besides books. So hey, if you're going on a tangent of anthropomorphizing things, just why stop there? Just do a book. It's got a great story. It's got a long story, 120 years, and I don't know how many pages. Let's say 120 pages just to make it even better. Just a nice round number for Pixar to advertise and make a story out of. There is a live crayfish defending that rice in my local Asian market. Hang on a second, before I even look at the photo, I just have to close my eyes and gotta cover my eyes because I just don't feel as though I can even read that title with a straight face. What the hell did I just read? I feel as though I've never read a more conceptually random title than that. But anyway, let's have a look at what the hell is going on here. I mean, hey, it's certainly in defense mode, so I wouldn't get too close to it. You might just have your legs taken out. But no, now I'm just wondering, is that just meant to be there? This is just kind of the store guard, or what the hell is that actually doing in the store? Is this store just next to some body of water and it's managed to make its way inside there? But how the hell has it made it all the way inside and just kind of cruising around and no one cares? It also makes me think that it is kind of just the guard, or at least just the pet of the store. And hey, I'm not one to judge about what kind of guard dog you should be having. I mean, I guess in saying that, I certainly hope that it's alright and it's not kind of freaking out. I mean, I'm fairly sure it would be freaking out because why the hell would it be in a store? But at the same time, does it need water? I don't really know. I guess in saying that, I feel as though I have to comment on the fact that this is just the worst aisle out of every single aisle you could have come to if you wanted water. Because, unless it's just a silica gel aisle or something like that, this is just the absolute aisle that is just going to soak up the most water out of anything, because really, there's certainly a method to the madness of people when they drop their phones in water, they actually put it in rice just to get all the water out. So yeah, don't get me wrong, it's definitely mildly interesting, but I'm just a little bit worried about his entire safety because, that's a pretty cool animal overall. And so hopefully it's alright and it kind of knows where it's going, but really that would be one hell of a surprise. And honestly, I don't even know if this classifies as mildly interesting anymore. I just find it downright confusing. Me and my son 3D printed a life-size battle droid. Turns out they were quite big. Well, that looks so good. I can only imagine that you would have had to sand it and paint it just to make it look that good. But really, yeah, that is massive. He looks, I don't know, does it actually say? I mean, yeah, I guess they are pretty tall. Google certainly doesn't lie in that department. Look at that, 1.93 meters. That's huge. And so no wonder it's taking over your entire couch at 6 foot. What would that be? Like 6'2", 6 foot? No, that's more than that. Like 6'4". It certainly would be quite intimidating to suddenly have an entire army of the things marching at you. Let alone the fact that these are kind of the little guys in the entire droid world. You got all the other droids that are virtually in every single other case just taller or wider or bigger or stronger or just whatever you want to call it. This is the smallest, most petite droid there is. Oh, but I guess in saying that, you really do have an entire kind of armada to choose from when you kind of next to your 3D printing, because like I just said, you have so many other droids to choose from, and really I feel as though they're going to take longer to print if nothing else than this guy. I mean, I guess in saying that, you would certainly need quite a large 3D printer in terms of it not being industrial scaling, you just having it at your house, because there are certainly some very decently sized components in this entire thing, from the head to the shins, just all those very long things. It just would have been quite difficult to kind of fit in the 3D printer, I would imagine. But no, that is definitely cool. And even though I would have imagined that it would have taken ages to kind of design and even to, like I said, just let alone print the entire thing, it has certainly turned out incredible. Like I said, just all the paintwork as well, just to make it look like it's weathered. Oh, and hey, look, I guess considering the fact that you can literally just 3D print a droid, you might as well not stop now, just make an entire army. Who cares? Why stop now when you're obviously so close to taking over the entire world? It just doesn't make sense, just keep on printing those droids. And so now finally for the top of the month for mildly interesting, we have I like to make little drawings of people that I see. Yep, I can definitely see why this one is top of the month for mildly interesting. Just the fact, oh my goodness, you've taken a snapshot in your mind of however or just wherever you've actually seen this person. Because even though they're obviously so simplistic, you can just get so much personality from every single one of them. Like this guy just completely drenched up with a lot, looks like dreads is what I'm getting from that one. And then this person, you can even see that they're wearing a mask and they've got a big, I don't know, maybe a bag of shopping. And then who else we got? We've got a school kid here, maybe another school kid here, maybe this is just kind of a cool guy walking it around town. But you get the point. You can actually just create a story behind every single one of these people. And it's also so personal because even though I just pointed out a whole bunch of people and I said, oh, this is their story, this is their story, maybe you just see them and think an entirely different thing. It's so great. I love this. This is so mildly interesting. And while we're talking about it, I guess I should really commend and just admire and really just be a little bit jealous of this person's artistic ability because, like I said, it's just so simple but so much emotion about the entire thing. And then really you can see in the left there that they've drawn an entire kind of ice skating rink or something. I don't really know what that is. Obviously we don't have much to work with, but that's what I'm getting from it. Maybe there's something to do with the fact that every single person in this image that I'm seeing is actually in a massive jacket or a beanie or, there's some kind of warm stuff. But no, I reckon it's a great little hobby. Obviously you can't identify exactly who the person is, but I just can't get over the fact that just how much personality every single one of these little characters has. And hey, as we can see at the top there, this is just the 2nd of March outside Vancouver Art Gallery downtown, so it's pretty incredible that this person just managed to kind of conjure up all of these characters out of thin air just in I don't know what, I guess the 2nd of March, surely they didn't spend all day just down there drawing people. I can only imagine this would have been half an hour or so, just kind of out there just seeing people, just kind of quickly sketch them and move on to the next one. It's ridiculous that people can do that. And hey, there certainly isn't too many things that are more mildly interesting than just people watching, because people can be quite strange sometimes. So for this this person to just so clearly just lock away snapshot on time, that is definitely the most mildly interesting of the month. But anyway, speaking of, that is going to do it for the top of the month for mildly interesting, so thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to the YouTube and look at things down below and let me know if you had a favourite post out of any of these. Other than that, we check out awesome posts all over Reddit, so make sure you check some of the other videos out now. Or hey, maybe you just want to consider subscribing so you don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.